மண்மேல் மஞ்சள் வெளிச்சம் விழுகவே கரிகபகரிகசா நீசனி வெள்ளை பூக்கள் உலகம் எங்கும் மலரவே விடியும் பூமி அமைதிக்காக விடியவே.
Hello Sivasri, welcome to the Hindu.
Namaste, namaste.
You hail from a musically rich family and of course you are now an established performer. Can you talk to us about how music came into your life?
Like you said, I was born into a music family and I grew up with artists coming home, practicing all the time, and Appa was a mridangam vidwan, Tata was a musician, Paati was also a musician. So I literally had music all around me, and natural inclination of course was there. Also Appa ensured that I practiced for at least 2-3 hours a day right from when I was 3. So it was a fun activity initially, until you start realizing how serious it is. It was a super duper fun activity for me at home, and I just used to sing along because there was both Nama Sankirtanam and Carnatic music. And Appa had just released a CD. He had sung Nama Sankirtanam himself. So it was so much fun to see him editing. I learnt along with it. So it was a natural mahol, where I grew up, and it was an invite to me to.
Lovely.
Yeah.
But when did you decide that music would be your thing, would be the one that you would actively pursue?
Actually, it's a very interesting question because that happened very recently, around 4-5 years back. Until then, I was a professional Bharatanatyam dancer. So after post-COVID, in fact, just before and post-COVID, I started singing. And as all these online live concerts started, 1 hour short Facebook concerts started, I started giving one concert every week. And then it increased to 2, 3, 4, and then it was packed. And then after COVID, people started inviting me for proper sabha concerts, and that's how it started.
Right. How do you see dance and singing? Do you see both of them as different extensions of your musical personality, or would you say one leads into another?
Definitely one leads into another. I would say I was a dancer who enjoyed music through dance, and now I am a singer who dances through my music on stage.
Okay.
So because I see that people come and tell me how I emote when I sing, how my face still expresses the bhava of that particular sahitya, and I realized how dance has helped me become this musician and how music had helped me be the dancer that I was. So definitely there's not one over the other, or I can never choose. So I feel that I dance through music on stage. My first memorable dance performance was my Arangetram, because at that time Arangetram was something, it was considered something so great. The child gets onto the stage for the first time. She faces an audience of such august audience with so many dignitaries there. And my Arangetram was completely differently conceptualized by Appa, and he made me do Natwangam also that day for another dancer. So there was so many interesting things happening, and it was the most memorable occasion because as a 10-year-old, my guru had chosen Varugalamu Ayya, which is a very deep bhakti poem, and it's a very difficult expression, rasa, bhava, to pull off as a 10-year-old. Bhakti, that ultimate form of bhakti, was not something anybody could do. But she ensured, both my guru and my father, they gave me 6 hours dance practice every day and ensured that I came out as Nandanar on that day and not as myself. So,
but as a 10-year-old, was it a little overwhelming for you?
It was. In fact, every single practice session would be overwhelming. It would be too heavy for me to handle, but it still came out well. I'm sure it's because of the divine grace, but it was definitely overwhelming because there's always a certain set of items that is given to us as that particular age group, people, we just do very simple shabdam, simple varnams on stage. Varugalamoya was something that dancers like Lakshmi Vishwanathan were doing on stage at that time, and it was a challenge both emotionally and physically to bring out Nandanar. ಮೊದಲೈನ ಮದ ತುಳ್ಟ ವಿಲ್ಟಿವನಿ ಮೊದಲೈನ ಮದ ತುಳ್ಟ ವಿಲ್ಟಿವನಿ ಮೊದಲೈನ ಮದ ದೊಲಗೊಟ್ಟಿನೆಲ ಕುಲ ಜಯುದಿಜ ಮೊದಲೈನ ಮದಾದುಲಗೊಟ್ಟಿನೆಲ ಕುಲ ಜಯು ನಿಜ ಬಲ್ಟು ರೀತಿ ಕೋಲು ವಿಯವಯ್ಯ ರಾಮ ಬಲ್ಟು ರೀತಿ ಕೋಲು ವಿಯವಯ್ಯ ರಾಮ ಬಲ್ಟು ರೀತಿ ಕೋಲು ವಿಯವಯ್ಯ ರಾಮ
Film music, Sivasri. We heard you in the Kannada version of Ponniyin Selvan first, and then we were in for a pleasant surprise, if I may say so, when we listened to you in the original soundtrack of Ponniyin Selvan, which was released quite recently. Vanati's Message is the name of the track, if I remember right. So how did these chances happen?
In fact, this came out of nowhere. I was just uploading videos on YouTube. I'm a very regular YouTuber that way. And one fine day, I get a follow from AR Rahman sir. And I realized this is not something everybody gets. Out of nowhere, Rahman sir starts following you on Instagram. And then there was a message from one of his musicians, his engineers, saying, "Sir wants to meet you. When is it possible for you?" And then we discussed, and I went to Panchatan Inn, and he was waiting there for us. Appa and I had gone, and I was surprised the way he asked me, because he said, "I've seen your videos, you're doing a great contribution to music." He was in praise of all that I do. And then he asked me, "Will you be interested to sing for Ponniyin Selvan?" I was shocked. I mean, who is not going to say no to Rahman sir? So I said, "Of course sir, definitely, it will be a great honor for me to sing. Please do let me know." Little did I know that he was asking me for Kannada. It was very interesting again, because a Kannada girl had sung the songs in Tamil, and I sang the same songs in Kannada. So it was a very interesting mix, which he hadn't realized for a long time. He said, "I thought you were a Kannadika. I didn't know you were a Tamil person." And then we had a good laugh about it, but I mean, the way he asked showed me how humble he is too. If one respects the artist's space, boundaries, and he was very sweet to ask if I would be interested to do film music, if I'd be okay doing it, because I have given out this vibe that I am a very traditional devotional musician who cannot venture into anything else, which is why I'm sure he must have had his own doubts. But I was all in for trying out new things, and that's how this came up. We sang for the first movie, and then he was so impressed that he wanted to do the same thing, translated Tevaram and all into different languages. So it was a very interesting and moving experience for me.
Yeah. Growing up, we spoke about how while you were growing up, you listened to a lot of music in your household, of course, because your father and grandfather are musicians themselves. But how much of impact did film music have on you as a listener, as an audience, while you were growing up? Somebody told me that you're a fan of Bruno Mars and Adele. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I used to listen to all kinds of music. I still do. I just love every genre of music. Once you're a musician, once you appreciate music, I think you appreciate music everywhere. And I listen to a lot of Bollywood music too. And like I said, pop, Adele, Bruno Mars, and then all these bands, Maroon 5. I was a great fan of all these kinds of music. I used to listen to them on loop when I was in college. But I realized that all this helped me in my own manodharma when it came to classical, when it came to devotional. You don't realize that you tend to use certain bits of these when you sing yourself. A track called Jag Musafir, and I was addicted to it, and like I always do, I played it on loop and I listened to it. And then one day I finally realized that when I'm singing Pibare Ramarasam, I'm singing the same phrases that he had sung in Jag Musafir, and I was taken by surprise. And then I realized, without us realizing, this music that we listen to, any kind of music we listen to, has a great impact and influence on how we give our music.
Right.
Yeah.
A little bit about, because you spoke about other forms of music, you're also a very popular Nama Sankirtanam exponent. Sivasri, how important do you think it is to spread this kind of art form to the younger generation, who are, of course, a lot of times people complain that they are always on their tabs, they are on their mobile phones and all that?
Sure, there are multiple reasons for this. One is because the base for our culture, for our tradition, for any Indian art form is surrendering to the divine. And I feel that today many artists and many students who are learning from those artists are deviating a little from this base, that is surrender to the divine, and they're separating the art from divinity. And I feel Nama Sankirtanam will play a very important role in bringing that back to the next generation. That is one. The other is when I sing Nama Sankirtanam, when I do the Namavali, when I recite the Vitthal Nama, though people do not understand Marathi in Tamil Nadu or in any other non-Marathi state, when we start the Vitthal Nama, people just forget themselves and join. Whether they are agnostic, whether they are atheistic, whether whatever be it, just the sound of that Bhagavan Nama does something to them. They forget themselves and join with us. I feel this will help many of the kids, the younger generation, to overcome different kinds of addiction and get addicted to this, which gives a very natural and very positive high. And the concept of high, I had experienced only through Nama Sankirtanam, only through Bhagavan Nama, because I have not honestly been exposed to any other kind of high. But I feel if the next generation experiences this high, I'm sure they will forego everything else and come to this, which is a very positive change, a revolutionary change that can be brought about in this country. Rang 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 rang, अरे सखी मैं अंग अंग आज रंग तार दूं, अपने जी से प्रेम रंग कैसे मैं उतार दूं। अरे सखी मैं रंग अंग आज रंग तार दूं, अपने जी से प्रेम रंग कैसे मैं उतार दूं। अरे सखी अरे सखी सखी।
I spoke with singer Chitra recently, and she was talking to me about how music can actually be therapy. It can be, a coping mechanism. It can actually help you heal, especially when you have some trying times. I heard that you also delivered a talk recently on a similar subject. Can you explain your thoughts about that?
I strongly believe that music definitely serves as a therapy. It definitely heals people. While I was in college, we did an experiment. Like we were 2 or 3 of us wanted to do an experiment and try music on plants. So because the first experiment you try out with plants and then you move to humans. So we wanted to do it with plants. We played MS Ammas because we wanted the most Swara Shuddhata in that music. So we chose MS Ammas tracks. We used to plant hibiscus and few other plants and play MS Amma's tracks. We used to write down the ragas and the effect it had on plants, and we actually saw a very significant effect when we compared playing classical music with respect to any other genre, and how this had a mantric effect on plants and their health. The height of the shoots, the way the flower bloomed, all of this showed so much difference. And that is when I started believing that music definitely has a very positive healing impact on people. And like you said, I had I had actually done a listening lecture, so that they wanted me to sing, select a few pieces which I think will have a very healing effect on people, and I was asked to present those compositions and also in a way try to explain how this might have a positive impact. So there were a bunch of students from the Tamil Music University who had attended this listening lecture. Dr. Hariharan had organized for this, and we had a great time. And even I was surprised that the students also had requests, few requests which were absolutely perfect and appropriate for this, like compositions like Shira Sagara Shayana, especially in the Charanam when you go to Taraka Nama, you will just dissolve with music at that point. So it was a very interesting session, and I feel it is important that this concept of music as therapy is made more public. More people should be aware of this and should take the help of our classical music.
Is that also part of the syllabus in Ahuti, the music school you run? Can you explain more about the concept of Ahuti and how it plans to impart music to the students?
What we aim to do through Ahuti is to take music, to take Indian art forms. We have 64 art forms elaborately explained, and I really want those art forms to be relevant for this generation, for this time period, and they definitely are in their own ways. And to take these 64 art forms to them is a humongous task. It is it's very difficult to make people understand how it is relevant today. That is what we aim to do through Ahuti, and by doing this, I believe these art forms ground people. It keeps us rooted to our tradition, to our culture. We will remain true Indians, true Bharatiyas who have crossed so many yugas in this world, and that is what I aim to do.
Sivasri, can you tell me a little bit about what gives you as a performer? What gives you true happiness? Is it the claps of the Rasika? Is it the many YouTube comments or the Instagram requests or comments that you get? What gives you true happiness?
Honestly, none of this does. Because sometimes, you can't please everyone. If there is some video that I upload, I've got backlash. Like so many times people have literally verbally flogged me for certain songs that I have posted. So one doesn't always get claps, one doesn't always get positive comments. So that is not, we say ella nirantaram illa, in Tamil. So just like that, these things are not the ones that make me happy while I sing. The only thing, because even if I sit at home in my room and close my eyes and sing my most favorite few lines from, say, an Ashtapadi or any composition for that matter, I just lose myself in that moment and enjoy the beauty of the musicality of that Sahitya itself, the language that is used. That is the most happiest one can get when they do music.
A young chess player, I think her name was Divya Deshmukh, she spoke about sexism in sports. In fact, she openly spoke about how when she plays chess and when she plays chess really well, a lot of people comment about her clothes, her appearance, her hair, and not particularly about the game itself. Sivasri, I wanted to ask you whether you have faced something like that, and if you have, how did you tackle that?
To be very honest, I have, in whatever little experience I have gained, I have not faced any kind of sexism or judgments based on sexism. Definitely not till now, because I have seen that there have been women musicians, artists from way back, and women have been more prominent in the art field. So in fact, I have seen the artists, dancers mainly, women dancers, very senior people say that, oh God, men should stop dancing. So in a very hilarious, in a very light, way. So there has not been any sexism, at least in my life. Concept of sexism is planted in someone's mind, irrespective of in which field they are in. It definitely affects a few people. There might have been women who have experienced things like they do not have stage presence. I'm including art as whole, not just music but dance too, because I have been in that zone and I've seen what has happened. So there have been cases where they have been judged based on their looks, the way they dress up, the way they portray their ideas. And this is a very serious problem, because this will completely destroy their morale. So stage is considered an Agni Pita. So you cannot simply go up on stage and in whichever mood you are, you cannot just vomit something and come back. The art has to be born there once again.
Do you sometimes feel that you are judged more by your looks rather than the talent that you have, which you present on stage? Has that come across at any point of time?
Not at all. The one thing that I have observed is people are so interested in what sari I wear. That is, I have seen, but that is a very different aspect. It is not because of sexism, or it is not any serious issue. But I have found it very difficult to find new saris every time, because people, they tend to comment saying, oh, you paired this blouse with that sari. So that is a maximum they reach to looks.
Right.
Other than that, I don't think, fortunately, with God's grace, I have never been judged just based on how I present myself, how I look, or people have not given due importance to my music as they give. No, definitely not, because people enjoy, the first thing that they hear is your music. And especially crowd in Tamil Nadu, they are very critical about music that they hear. So everything comes later. If your music is good, we love you, is what I have seen.
What are your long-term dreams and ambitions as a performer? If there's one change that you would like to make in the current performing space, what would that be? There
is one major change that I wish to make. That is, we are seeing different genres of music on different pedestals. So if somebody sings Shastriya Karnataka Sangeetam, it means that they are on a very high pedestal naturally, because they do that. And if somebody sings say devotional, say even Nama Sankirtanam for that matter, I don't understand the bifurcation there, because I sing the same ragas, I sing the same kind of Neravel in these compositions, just the composers are different. And I also sing Tyagaraja and Muthuswami Dikshitar's Kriti in my concerts. I cater to all groups. I want to remove all the bifurcation that exists in between genres of Indian music. At least that has to be one. So devotional, Carnatic, everything is the same according to me, because people have separated the devotion from Carnatic. It has become a completely different genre of music altogether, which is not true. And the other thing is, as simple as an art gets, it reaches people's hearts more easily. I see that there is so much complexity in music today that it has come to a very superficial level of just finding out what raga it is. So that should not be the ultimate goal in a concert for the audience, to find out which composer this is, which raga this kriti is in. So the music has to touch them, the sahitya has to create an impact, it has to change people for the better. And I'm sure that is why music, art, dance, anything was used from long back, just to convey things, to make people live a better life, to make them into better individuals. And that is completely lacking today because of the complexity that has been introduced, and it has just become a showcase of their own prowess, which has to definitely change. It has to become more of an inward journey than outward. So that is another change that I would love to bring.
So how do you plan to simplify that?
With my music, because when I perform, I see when I sing the same kirtana that some other artist would have done all gimmicks with it, done so much complex sangati, so much complex neraval, swarams, everything to it. Of course they are all manodharma, but the real manodharma has gone missing. So that is how I interpret the sahitya, how I wish to transfer that emotion and evoke that same emotion in you all when you listen to it. So I am happy to say that I have been quite successful in doing that till now in my concerts. The songs I choose, I know which will, I have this certain knack to choose the composition which will go and pierce the people straight into their heart. So those are the kind of songs that need to be given to them, because as artists it's also our responsibility to give them what they are looking for. Sometimes they don't know what they are looking for, and they will suddenly find that, oh God, this is what I was looking for. So I think a lot of thought should go into a concert before giving it to the audience. It is not just for our own pure pleasure that we are singing. We can do that at home too. When we go and sing for people, we need to elevate them along with us. It is a responsibility for artists.
Lovely, great parting words, and thank you for this amazing interaction for the Hindu. Wishing you all the very best, Sivasri.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you. போராளே பொண்ணு தாயி போகிற போக்குல மனச தொட்டு, போராளே பொட்ட புள்ள ஊற விட்டு, பால் பேச்சு மாட்ட விட்டு பஞ்சாரத்து கோழிய விட்டு, போராளே பொட்ட புள்ள ஊற விட்டு, சாமந்தி பூவா பூமத்தம் பூவா கருத்தம்மா எழுத பூவம்மா, அஞ்சாறு சீம உள்ளூரில் ஏங்க பொதிமாட்டு வண்டி மேல போட்டு வச்ச மூட்டை போல, போராளி பொண்ணு தாய் போகிற போக்குல மனச தொட்டு, போராளே பொட்ட புள்ள ஊற விட்டு.